Hello, my name is Louis Herms, founder of Screw Big Gov. We genuinely appreciate your support to Screw Big Gov in our efforts to keep all this fantastic content absolutely free to the public. Therefore, we'd love you to check out our high-quality Screw Big Gov swag, such as t-shirts, hats, and much, much more, or our cutting-edge healing and nutritional products that help you be the best you can be, including super flavorful mycotoxin and mold-free coffee. We even offer a secure place to purchase gold and silver, or you can donate directly to Screw Big Gov. You must know that I have personally vetted each and every product and service to make sure we only supply to you, our SBG family, the very, very best. All vendors on our platform are informed that if they do not live up to the SBG standards, they will be removed indefinitely. Just visit screwbiggov.com/shop. screwbiggov.com. Thank you so much for your support. Hello, folks. Welcome to Screw Big Gov. And today we have an incredible guest, Laura Worley, who will be discussing her unfortunate adventures into MKULTRA, the New World Order, and the military. But she has a compelling story. I think we're really, really blessed to have her on our platform today. Laura, thank you very much for giving us the time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. I guess first I would like you just to detail your story, because you have an incredible background and a journey that I think it's important to have a basis for the conversation. Could you start there?
Sure. So I was born into a family that these kind of things have happened for generations. So I was just another one to go right through the line. I was already starting to get programmed in the womb, and that is, the Illuminati, witchcraft, and it's all one. So, Illuminati uses witchcraft and military uses witchcraft. So they're all in it together, and they started my programming very, very young, and it continued on. They do a lot of testing to see where you're going to fit. So where I got fit was I could apparently pass the test of memorizing what I needed to memorize and give messages to foreign dignitaries. So that was about five, six, and my father was an airline pilot, and he would take me and several other younger children, and there was always like this woman with him, and they would drop us in, they would take us somewhere, probably like an hour away in a flight in the middle of the night, and there would be these limousines, and they would be waiting, and we would all have to go to wherever. But most of the time, me and one other child was the only ones that returned. So that's kind of a fresher one. But so that continued, and then Kissinger somehow got involved and took me to like all these different foreign dignitaries, and President Nixon. I did see him a couple of times, and not as a vice president, but Ford got his hands on me. And so anyway, that's kind of how it was. It wasn't until older that Hillary Clinton found out about me because of a very big experiment that 3 of us passed. And I didn't know at the time, and I still don't know, but I believe it was like a time travel. They were trying to experiment with us. And she found out about it. And so anyway, they did this it was 7 days of programming. And it was with 40 men. And they did everything they possibly could to me. And if I passed, then I would be given to her as a slave. And then there's a ritual that takes place if you're given to somebody as a slave. Like, this is a slave for good. So wow. So they own you, they own whoever comes after you. And so anyway, that is how I, met her. And she, she's everything everybody says. So, and more.
Is she, considering it's like a reward for her, was she like ranked fairly high up on the ladder? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Certain people get slaves. So let's say that you don't get one like that way, but you still get a slave. So they can say, you can come up, you can tell somebody, hey, I want a kid that's going to do this, this, and this for me. So the programmers groom the child to do what that specific person wants. And
Wow.
that's how they do it. And it's all the politicians. I mean, most of them anyway.
Right.
Biden is up to his ears in it. And, okay, so I'm going to tell you quite a few things today, but there's certain things I'm going to tell in a couple weeks, because I feel like I really don't have God saying I can do that yet. So I'm going to tell you everything I can up to this point. But Biden is very much involved in all this stuff. So I just want people to know that. But it is not the real Biden now.
Right. A lot of people are aware of that. It's very clear it's not. So now this goes a lot deeper than just our politicians, though. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the act. I didn't really have any memories really with a ton of any actors or actresses doing anything with me. I have seen them, a couple of them, at rituals, but I was never in that. It was all politicians for me. And I know that there's certain businessmen, and I know that there's certain, of the 13 and the 7 and the high council and stuff that I definitely been around. And, they make it really hard to access some of that, but I have enough to know that. Yeah.
Now, are you comfortable with, if you have any recall of the rituals, explaining what those look like? What happened?
Depending what kind of ritual they do a ritual for everything. So their purpose, let me give you an example. And this is, I'm probably not going to go super into it, but it's a good example.
Yes.
Is the New World Order was, they started to plan that, right? Everybody knows that for a really long time. And all the people started getting programmed for all that. But they started bringing people back about 7 years ago to make sure the programming was up to date so that they can do their jobs. They did a 3-day ritual, okay, to make sure they can bring in the New World Order. So they're always doing a ritual to call on the deepest, darkest demons to carry out their order. So, when all of them met, just like all the European, they met in Europe, it was like maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 months ago. They were all meeting.
Yep.
They did a ritual, I'm sure.
Yeah, the G20, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do rituals to achieve their goals. So it's not, some of them are just, for the sacrifice and all that kind of thing, but some of it, they want to call the deepest, darkest demons to help them with their goal. And that's what happens. So
now, in order for that to be successful, they have to, is it that all these demons are there, or they have to believe that they're there?
They are there. And I will explain to you a little bit about Satan's kingdom. So Satan's kingdom, I never knew this until I started writing my book in 2019, and God just showed me so much. Like, I didn't even know this.
Can you give the title of that book for everybody real quick?
Puzzle Pieces to the Cabal, Mind Control, and Slavery.
Okay, thank you.
And he showed me that demons have different levels of authority. So the ones that are higher up are called on for specific things, and they are also downloaded into a survivor. So not every fallen angel, demon, whatever you want to call devil, they're not equal, just like we're not equal. So there's different authorities. And so they use that authority to accomplish whatever they want to do. So every survivor goes through programming, is downloaded with a ton of demons all the time.
Interesting. And you have techniques to help people get rid of that, correct?
Yes. The simplest thing is you have to realize every human being that has a body has more power than a fallen angel. And you have to remember who they are. They are the ones that followed Satan's plan in heaven. They came to earth because they rejected God's plan, right? So if they rejected God's plan, God said, okay, if you don't want to follow that plan, everybody had a vote, came to earth, and they did not get a body. So it's all of the people that were in heaven that followed Satan. They didn't get a body. So we automatically, you could be a baby and you have more power than Satan does. So you have to realize that you cannot be afraid, even though sometimes it can be afraid, scary thing. You have to remember who they are and you cast them out simply. And you only can cast them out. You don't have to have this faith, but I promise you, the only one they will obey is Jesus Christ. They will not leave under any other person. You can't say, in the name of the universe, I command you to depart. They're going to laugh their ass off. So they won't do it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I've even had people, like I said, if you don't believe me, just try it. Go ahead. And you'll know if they leave or not.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Wow. So throughout your dealings, you've dealt with a lot of political figures, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's something that you can't say, but what was their goal other than using you for your memory? Did they have, is there some other value that they looked at you or other people? Like what's the purpose of it other than that?
So they're going to use you in many, many capacities as you age. So, and they're going to I was always experimented on. I was always used, for the Monarch program and everything that entails. And so I was always pretty much, I feel just like a slave, and I had to perform whatever they were teaching me at the time. So, and, there is a part I haven't really went through, but about 11 through 15, I had a specific job that I was a breeder. Okay. And so, everybody knows what that is. I don't really go into that too much, but so there's a lot of different jobs. And then they started experimenting on me with this time travel thing. There was a whole bunch of teenagers. 3 of us lived through it. And then, of course, I got into, stupid, the slave with Hillary. And part of this sacrifice, so there, it's a ritual, okay? And so when I was specifically given to her, this is going to be a little gross, but I feel like I need to say it, is I was made to have a baby from Bill for her to sacrifice in this, wow. I'm her slave.
Right. So they're so deep and dark. But they're virtually soulless is what these people that you're dealing with, right? So to them, they don't have any remorse, do they? Have you seen any of them ever have any remorse with the crazy stuff they do? They don't, right?
They're so fat. They really have given up their soul. It's just they're so full of demons that.
So how do you connect a lot of people say, oh, well, they're reptilians or they're serpents or they're aliens from another planet or they've come from another terra. I mean, there's so much information about these people. What is your gut feeling or your knowledge say who these really are?
I think they're just demons.
They're just demons. Okay. Right. And they could take any look that they want as a demon. Right. Yep. Okay. You also said this is multi-generational. So does that mean that all the parents and the grandparents through generations intentionally did this and knew exactly what they were doing to their children?
This is my take after many years. I went to talk therapy for 20 years. Okay. And I've known about this since 1993 or something too, or whatever, that I had cult abuse. And in the 90s, of course, nobody wanted to hear it. And they said I was crazy. This doesn't happen, blah, blah, blah. So eventually I just stopped telling people because I got a lot of really horrible things happen to me because of it. So I just stopped telling. And so that went on for a long time, but I went to therapy for 20 years. And then so long story short, after spending like $500,000 out of our pocket, not just, insurance of therapy, I finally said, God, there has to be something that works, something that can help me because I have so much pain. I have all these memories, but I have all this pain. And about a week later, I found EFT tapping. And that helped to some degree. But then when I found eutaptics, it's a different kind of tapping, and it has like different modalities in together. My whole life changed. Like I just went and started cleaning up all this stuff. And so that is what I feel is true healing. When you can think of, like this happened to me and I don't care anymore.
Mhm.
That's true healing. And so I just went and started cleaning up all these memories I had, which were a million.
I bet.
Yeah. So that really helped me change my life. And then I got certified as a practitioner about 11 years ago. And then I've just been helping people literally all over the world. And it is an opportunity I received because of the company I went with and the training we got. I get to travel them to different countries. And so I still help see clients all over the world. And we're mainly, this goes back to not telling about my ritual abuse, because I didn't want to go down that road because it was just still like not really very welcome. So I just help people with abuse, and I told people I've had, really horrible abuse. But about 3 years ago, I had a friend that said, people are talking about all this at YouTube. And I'm like, no way. Because I was in shock that people were openly talking about ritual abuse and, Hillary Clinton and Biden and all these people. I was like, no way. So I felt that this is a miracle right now, because you have no idea how this is breaking everyone's programming down,
Mhm.
because we were so told not to say anything.
Right. Yeah, it was taboo.
Yeah.
Like if I mentioned it, even if I hadn't gone through it, I would be cast out of society.
Yeah.
So I can imagine what happened to you.
Yeah. I mean, we were tortured not to tell, to remember these important people. And now everybody across the world knows about it. So that's why a lot of people that have this history are starting to wake up. And anyway, so to me, it's really an exciting time.
So do you think that was an energy shift that made that happen, or was it just time, or what do you think? Why because it feels like it's suddenly just in the last few years that people are a lot more open to this information.
It is absolutely in the last few years, because people are open to it. And I couldn't even do what I'm doing right now a few years ago because people wouldn't listen. So
right. So it's almost like a universal shift of some sort.
Maybe it's them trying to push in the New World Order, and then all these things that have happened with COVID, which is actually a part of the New World Order plan. Mm-hmm. So, and the war is another part of the New World Order plan that's in our programming. So this isn't what people say. This is literally what we were programmed for. So war, that's why I knew Biden was going to do it. He kept pushing it because it's part of the New World Order plan.
Right. So is, when you say you clear your memories, can you articulate what exactly that means?
Okay, so with the modality of tapping, you're using the unconscious mind and the body to release emotions. Mm-hmm. If you don't release the emotions to your memories don't change. Okay, so what we're doing is we work with the unconscious mind, and we use a tapping procedure that's used like meridians system with acupuncture. It's the same thing. So you're tapping on points that go to your organs, and you're using the unconscious mind. And as you're releasing the emotions, the unconscious mind changes, and it does it all on its own. So I would go back to, let's say, I was 3 years old and this happened to me. Okay. So I would just go back to that memory, and I would tap out all my feelings and whatever my unconscious brought up that I need to be aware of. So what it did is like, I might have the general sense of what it was, but the tapping, my unconscious mind, after I'd release like a layer of emotion, it would show me the next piece. It would show me, okay, now you understand why you do this certain behavior because of this. So it puts everything together at a conscious level.
So I'm familiar with EFT tapping. You say you use a different form of tapping. Mm-hmm. What is that called again?
Well, it's called Fast Strafe eutaptics.
Oh, okay.
And because it uses a little bit of 5 different modalities, and it just goes deeper to the root. EFT truly helped me release emotions, but some things I could not change.
Okay.
And this is what I've been doing for 10 years in helping people. They've come with every single possible trauma that you could ever think of. It's absolutely horrific. And it doesn't bother me anymore after you do this
wow, that's fantastic.
modality. Yeah.
And do you teach it, or you just do it for people? How does that work?
I do it for people. I am going to be doing more seminars and stuff that will help. But yeah, if you want to go to your thing, there's 1,500 videos on YouTube under Robert Smith, who created it. So it can teach you how to do it. I have some stuff on my website. So,
Okay. Now, when you say, I know you want to heal, that you want to heal and you want to reverse the MKULTRA. This is what you're talking about, right?
It helped me because I had a lot of memories. Now, I do agree with Kathy that the writing is very, very helpful to get to details and to understand what's going on. So there's another thing. Okay, so I showed you how to get rid of the pain, change it in your mind so it doesn't bother you anymore. Sure. But you also have to understand the programming. You have to understand what's been done to you, because that programming will still run your life. And so I went to therapy. People didn't know. And they would say, well, you've got the Alice in Wonderland. Oh, you've got, this, and this. Well, that's great. But you know what? Those are pieces. They are not the foundation. And the foundation is what God showed me. And he didn't show me for a really long time. And it's like everything is built on it, which is called the tree of death.
Interesting.
It's opposite of tree of life.
That's what they built everything on the tree of death.
Yeah, they built everything on. So basically Satan's kingdom is opposite of Jesus, God's kingdom. All he did, Satan stole every single idea from God, turned it on its head, and that's his kingdom. So if you understand God's kingdom, then you're going to understand what Satan's kingdom did. But anyway, the most important thing in God's, which I didn't know either, God's teaching was the tree of life, because it's the love of God, eternal life, that kind of thing. So they put in a tree of death, and it is their tree of life, but it's everything to them. It is the most hidden, and they have successfully hidden it all of these years. Like the person that has been in deprogramming for a long time, I even paid a therapist like for a year, that he came and he flew to see me, and we worked 8 hours a day, a week at a time, for a year.
Wow.
Never once did we get there.
Really?
Yeah.
So they well, it's interesting because I just did a movie called The Green Man, where I kind of go into a little bit of what you're talking about.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that's very, very, wow, that's fascinating.
It is so, oh my gosh, I can tell you, when God started showing me this stuff, I was like, am I like nuts? Is this true? Is this real? And but since then, it's funny, whenever I go to that place, like, is this real? I get this confirmation for places I never saw this stuff. Like, how did it just appear now? So anyway, so I'm not crazy. No, it really is real.
No, you're not crazy. In fact, I wonder how I see you, and I've talked to Kathy O'Brien a few times, and both of you are so extraordinarily vibrant and positive. And how did you get there, considering the trauma that you went through decades of? I mean, decades of it. I think it's just incredible.
I will give God all credits, because if I didn't turn to him completely, I would have never made it. And that was even hard at times, making it. So when I was growing up, I didn't have an understanding of God because I wasn't taught that. But when I was about 16, I had a real desire to kind of, I don't know why, I just did. So I tried to go to the Catholic Church, and, because I was kind of halfway raised Catholic. They weren't, faithful Catholics. But I don't know, it just didn't feel right. And so anyway, I kind of went on a journey of just trying to understand something different. Had to be, because, there has to be so there's always the opposite of everything. And so if I know all this stuff about Satan's kingdom, well, there has to be a God's kingdom. It has to, like, you have to have God's kingdom. There isn't any in between. So anyway, so that's kind of what I feel like helped me. Yeah,
because everything they do is reversal. Everything. Yeah, absolutely. So I know you mentioned that you don't think Biden is around anymore. Do you think that has to do with any of the other elite that are out there that we see? Maybe they're not them.
I know for a fact that's not Biden. I know for a fact, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's not Hillary. It doesn't seem like it. So
And you've had
those are the only two I can say for
I
sure.
ask because you've had interactions with her, right?
Yeah.
And you
And
feel
that's my thought on both of those.
yeah, I would agree. I think there's some more than circumstantial evidence that's true, actually.
Yeah. I don't know about Obama. I think he's still around. I don't know. I don't know about them because I only saw him a couple of times.
So I want to go back to the time travel thing. So when they were experimenting on you, if I'm right, they were sending you through portals or whatever it is to time travel. And if you came back, they're like, okay, that was successful. Am I wrong? Or
yeah, it was really weird because what my memories are was this big, huge tube. It was like a really big tube. And then it had on the outside of it running. All I can explain to you is from my memory, but
Sure.
It was like electricity and water running on the outside of it. And then there was some kind of huge thing happening inside. So it took about 6 months to get us ready. And then what they said is you're going to go through this. It's going to be painful for about 3 minutes. And then when you get to the other side, you have a job to do. And we were supposed to give packets to the people that were going to be on the other end once we crossed the door.
Packets, can you explain what that means? Like paper?
Packets of information.
Oh, okay, got it.
That we were supposed to hand to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were supposed to come right back. And so anyway, what happened is whatever was going on of what they had created changed our bodies to such a degree. Many people died. Many of the kids died in the midst of this. So 2 people, I wouldn't say we were friends, but anyway, we had talked. They had held on to each other and they reached out to me. And so there was 3, we held on to each other. And so I don't know if that's what saved us. I don't know. But anyway, we went through the door and what I saw was, and I don't even know if this is all something they just, made, but this is what I saw. It was like a war zone. And I saw the Capitol of, Washington, D.C. It was a complete war zone. It was complete chaos. There was fire. It was everything. And there was a military person and we had to go find him. We handed him the packets and we only had so long to get back. That's what we did. And we gave it to him. We came back, we held on to each other. It was very painful. And then got to the other side. So they were like, what the hell happened that these 3 are alive? So I don't think they expect us to live,
right.
But it changed our bodies. Like there was something different magnetically, I don't know, something, and it was between us 3. So it changed something.
So did you feel like you pushed forward into the future at a war zone? Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that's when I was 17. So that was a long time ago.
So it feels like to me, and I want to get your opinion, that the good guys are making a lot of progress lately, and we're taking this thing back. We're going to be bringing back our sovereignty. Do you have the same feeling?
I do. I think we're going to do it. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people don't even know this. A lot of people are still suffering. Like they're using, these frequency machines and sending it to people to keep them at a low vibration, depressed, sad, angry, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to use that even more when they want the actual New World Order to bring in. So not just the stages. So they're going to use the military. They're going to use MKULTRA. They're going to use anybody that's been vaccinated. And the reason they need more of that, they have more of the vaccination because of the nanoparticles. The more that's inside, they literally can use the frequencies to torture somebody from the inside out. And but they can also turn their mood into, they can either the military, they are doing this, and I know this for an absolute fact, is they are sending, so they have put microchips in military people. Okay. Again, they'll give them a shot and they'll slip their little chip in there, and they will be able, when they literally need them, they will send the frequencies to the microchips and will turn them to a really angry, despondent person, and they will obey the orders are given, and they won't be like a human being, really. They're going to be so angry that they will kill people. They will, corral people up into the FEMA camps or whatever they're going to do. They're going to use the military. These are not MKUltra people.
Okay.
These are just military. They've had a small amount of brainwashing, but at these rituals, I have also seen military men and women. And I don't know if they wanted to degrade their suits, their uniforms, but they were doing MKUltra stuff to them. But that's not everybody.
Right.
So this is all that what I've seen. And, I would like to say, because I am still pretty angry about this guy, is Millie. He's a effer. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's fine.
He's so cruel and so mean. And him and that one guy, I don't know what his name is, but he's beside kind of Millie all the time. They're so deep into this MKUltra programming and stuff. It's horrible.
Have you had interactions with General Millie yourself?
That's why I say he's cruel. He's evil.
Really?
And he's very awake. He's not doing this under a program state.
That's even worse. Yeah. So this is his choice, which is
this is his choice. Yes.
Yeah, which is the height of evil. So do you think we have the ability to send positive things to the military people that may be chipped, right, in order to reverse this?
I think this is why I'm trying to go out there right now and say this, because I want people to wake up and say, does something feel wrong in you? Do you feel something in your body doesn't feel right? Like I actually had somebody call me and say, I haven't been in the military for 5 years, but I feel like something's in my arm and I don't feel right. I have these things that are happening that don't make sense. So I'm trying to help people realize if you've been in the military, and if you're not feeling right, trust that. See if you can find somebody to help you if you have the New World Order programming. That goes for MKUltra too, because the one thing I want to say, and I know it might be hard for people to hear, but if you have, like, let's just say you're somebody like me and you felt like, well, I've done all this deprogramming. I know, I'm free and everything. But if you haven't found the New World Order programming, then you're not free. And they will use it because they meant it to be deactivated, like not activated. They're going to activate it now. So certain people will say certain things, which will be a signal. And so they created stages. So each one will be a stage, a signal of the next stage to anybody that has this mind control programming. So even though consciously you may not be aware, unconsciously, what stage you're in. So because the vaccine was one, and now it's the war, that's number 2. Don't go in my numbers, but I'm just saying,
right.
These are all part of our programming.
So how will somebody know if they're NWO programmed? Like you said, somebody could go through all this clearing and cleaning up, but still not hit that one. How do you know when you hit it?
Okay, this is the very simplistic technique, but you can do it. So if you ask your unconscious mind a question, it will always answer you. It will always be honest, but it will be the first thought. If you go past that, that's the logic mind, and the logic mind will always lie to you. Okay, so you could, I think the best thing would be to have somebody ask you and just say, do you have the New World Order Army programming? First thought. What was it? So that's how you do it. And so the person, even if he doesn't believe it or she doesn't believe it, you have to say, what was the first thought? What came? Yes or no? There's another technique you can use. You can go to a safe place, okay, in your mind, create a safe place, and you create something safe that you're going to read from. And then you could ask somebody, you don't tell them though, you don't tell them what it is or what you're reading from. And you can have somebody ask you, do you have this? And they always told you you can't talk or tell, but they didn't say you couldn't read something. So you can read something, and all you are is the observer, and the person asking you the question is you're just going to basically read the answer and give the answer back to them. These are just things you can do with yourself. There's also, you could write, ask yourself your question, do I have this, this programming, see if it will come out. Those are simple ways. You could also say, like, if I felt like something wasn't right inside, you could say, I don't feel right because, and let your unconscious mind answer first thought. because the because word is what your unconscious mind actually will answer. But it's always the first thought. So don't ever forget that. You go past that, you've lost it.
Wow.
So because is a strong word. You can ask for any problem you have. I have, pain in my arm because I have, I'm depressed because I'm sad because I'm lonely because all those things.
Yeah, I haven't heard that before. I love that.
Yeah, and it's really powerful and simple technique.
So if you have one message that you just feel you're compelled that you have to get out to people, how could you articulate that?
Well, I would say that there's always hope, and God is greater than all this evil, and he just needs us to be his warriors and to help. He is bringing this to the light. And in the scriptures, it does say that he will bring the darkness into the light. And, I don't know if people are really aware of this, but since the beginning of time, there's been witchcraft and rituals. So this is nothing new.
Yeah.
But so he is bringing it, never to my knowledge in history is this been brought in the light like this. So I don't believe it's for nothing. And I believe he's saying, if you stand up and do something about it, I will help you. And if you do not, you will have the consequence of your choices. So that I know that we can all stand together and we can do this, we can fight this, and we can bring it down. I don't know why I know it. I just know that we're going to do it. So we are going to bring them down.
I love it. I love it. Well, let's end on that.
Okay.
Because we're bringing them down. You can't say anything better than that.
Okay.